Some games don't just entertain us, they become part of who we were when we played them. Tonight, let's drift back to a simpler time, to 2005, when the year in Star Wars was everywhere, and when a single video game captured the spirit of an entire galaxy. In this calm journey, we're going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2, a game that was more than just a shooter. It was a memory, a feeling, and a playground for fans of all ages. We'll talk about the magic of the era, why this game became a favorite, and why even after all these years it still holds a special place in our hearts. So get comfortable, close your eyes if you'd like, and let's explore the legacy of one of the most beloved Star Wars games ever made. It's hard to describe just how big Star Wars felt in the early 2000s unless you were there. The prequel trilogy had reignited in the galaxy, the Phantom Menace introduced a new generation of Jedi, pod racing, and mysterious Sith. Attack of the Clones gave us clone troopers, a young Anakin Skywalker, and massive battles across dusty alien worlds. But in 2005, everything had came to a head. Revenge of the Sith hit theaters, and for many fans, it was the emotional climax of decades of storytelling. We saw the fall of Anakin, the rise of Darth Vader, and the birth of the Empire. Lightsabers lit up cinema screens, action figures filled Toy Story shelves. Star Wars was more than popular, it was a cultural event. And it wasn't just in theaters. Star Wars was on lunchboxes, posters, backpacks, and most memorably, for gamers, it was on their consoles. LucasArts was releasing titles across the board. Knights of the Old Republic,
Up there, the enemy!
Jedi Academy, Republic Commando, each game expanding the universe in unique and exciting ways, but one game stood out above the rest. Sorry, just kidding. Kinda. Sorta. Anyways, Star Wars Battlefront 2 released just months after the Revenge of the Sith. Felt like it was made to ride that perfect wave of excitement. For a fan in 2005, this game was like holding the galaxy in your hands. You weren't just watching the battles anymore, you were in them. You could fight on Hoth, run through the forests of Endor, soar through the asteroid fields above Coruscant, or march through Mustafar, the lava planet fresh from the final scenes of Episode 3. It was a dream made real. And unlike most movie tie-ins, Battlefront 2 wasn't just good for a Star Wars game, it was good, period.
Alright, here we freaking go. Oh, dude, my god, this guy's soaring!
At the perfect intersection of passionate fans, movie magic, and creative freedom, this game was becoming something special, something unforgettable. When you booted up Battlefront 2 for the first time, it didn't just feel like another shooter, it felt important. Right from the menu, you were met with that bold Star Wars font, set against a star field, and it felt like stepping directly into the universe. The gameplay wasn't flashy by today's standards, but it was smart, smooth, and deeply satisfying. You picked a faction, clones, droids, rebels, or the Empire, and dropped straight into the action. Infantry, jet troopers, Wookiee warriors, dark troopers, each class had its own playable strengths and quirks. You weren't just a one-man army, you were a cog in a greater machine, fighting across a sprawling battlefield filled with chaos and coordination. And then, of course, there were the heroes. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Mace Windu, Yoda. You could become a legend, but only if you earned it. A timer would pop up, your heart would race, you'd hit accept, and suddenly, you were leaping across the battlefield, swinging a lightsaber, or hurling lightning across enemy lines. It wasn't just about power, it was about feeling powerful, something the game balanced just right. Then, came the starships. Space battles were new in Battlefront 2, and they made the galaxy feel even bigger. Dogfighting among destroyers, diving into hangars to sabotage enemy ships from the inside. It was chaotic, cinematic, completely immersive. The missions were simple. Destroy key systems, take down fighters, defend your cruiser, but the freedom to choose how you did it, that was rare. The controls weren't perfect. The AI could be a little wild.
Watch your fire!
But somehow, it didn't matter. What did matter was how the game made you feel like a real part of the Star Wars universe, not just an observer. No two battles felt exactly the same. Every match had its own little moments, last-second captures, dramatic standoffs, quiet victories, and all of it wrapped in a layer of polish that made it feel not just playable, but alive. For so many of us, Battlefront 2 wasn't just another game we played. It was the game that made us feel like we were finally there, in the trenches, in the starfighters, and in the story. For many players, the heart of Battlefront 2 wasn't just the action, it was the control. And nowhere was that more true than in Galactic Conquest. This mode gave you a simple goal: take over the galaxy, planet by planet. But the beauty was in the freedom. You chose your faction, plotted your path, and began your slow, methodical sweep across space. Every planet had its own personality. Naboo with its sweeping fields, Kamino's slick, rainy platforms, and Tatooine's twin suns blazing down on a dusty battlefield. You weren't just fighting battles, you were building a campaign. You could buy bonuses between turns, orbital strikes, Jedi reinforcements, extra troops. Each decision became the outcome, and the longer you played, the more invested you became. Would you press your advantage and strike at the Coruscant, or hold back, build credits, and fortify Bespin? It wasn't complicated, but it was immersive. Galactic Conquest was never flashy, never loud. It just let you play out a fantasy that every Star Wars fan had dreamed of. What if you controlled the galaxy? And because the mode was structured around replayability, no two campaigns felt the same. You could win with the clones one day, lose with the rebels the next. It was one of the earliest examples of a single-player sandbox within a licensed game. And for a generation of fans, it was endlessly fun. You didn't need a story, you made your own story. And late at night, in those quiet hours, it was easy to lose yourself in a galaxy of your own making. If Battlefront 2 had only been a single-player experience, it still would have been beloved. But the truth is, it didn't just thrive, it lived because of its community. Back in 2005, online gaming wasn't what it is today. There were no battle passes, no streaming overlays, just a list of servers, some usernames, and a shared love for the game. Through GameSpy, players from all over the world connected in galaxies far, far away. Matches could be chaotic, unbalanced, even laggy, but they were very fun. There was something pure about hopping into a massive battle with real people. No voice chat, no pressure, just gameplay. And for those people who stayed offline, there was split screen and LAN play. Friends crowding around a chunky TV, controllers in hand, navigating clunky menus and arguing over who got to be the Empire this round. It was messy, it was simple, and it was unforgettable. But the true soul of Battlefront 2's longevity was in the modding community. Even as official support faded, fans refused to let go of the game. They built new maps, imported new heroes, crafted entirely new eras. The modding tools weren't perfect, but the passion behind them was unmatched. Entire teams of fans worked behind the scenes, breathing new life into the game year after year. Forums lit up with custom content, YouTube channels showcased insane battles never seen in the base game. While the industry moved on, Battlefront 2 quietly kept going, held up not by marketing or updates, but by players, people who loved it too much to let it fade. In many ways, it was one of the earliest examples of community taking full ownership of a beloved game. And even today, the servers may be quieter, but the legacy still echoes on Discord, in modding hubs, and in the memories of players who never really left. Battlefront 2 wasn't perfect. It had bugs, the AI could be clumsy, the graphics, even for the time, weren't groundbreaking. But what made it special is something we don't see as often anymore. It respected the player, gave you everything up front. No microtransactions, no locked characters, no battle passes. Just a full experience, complete on day one. You can earn heroes through gameplay, you unlock new classes by proving yourself in battle, and every achievement felt real, because you made it happen. There was no pressure to log in daily, no algorithm trying to keep you hooked. You played it because it was fun, and when you stopped, the game patiently waited for you to come back. Today, many games focus on monetization, on engagement loops, on content cycles, and sometimes it feels like the magic of playing simply to play is getting lost. But Battlefront 2 reminds us of something else, that you don't need photorealism or endless content to make something unforgettable. You just need heart, and a vision, and a little faith in your players. It's why, nearly 2 decades later, people still talk about this game, still mod it, still share stories of that time they took down a Jedi with a lucky rocket.
The command post is no longer under Empire control.
Or defended Hoth with 4 reinforcements left. We need more games like this, not just how they're built, but in what they believe in. That games can be complete, that they can inspire, that they can last, because they meant something. Time moves on. Consoles change, studios close, servers go offline, but somehow, Battlefront 2 never really left us. It lingers in our memories, in the way we remember these chaotic battles, these moments of quiet strategy, or the simple joy of becoming a hero just for a few minutes. It was never just about the graphics or the gameplay, it was about how it made us feel connected, immersed, and alive in a galaxy we loved. And that's why we kept going back. Because every time we land on Camino, or rush Echo Base, or watch the Star Destroyer burn, we're reminded of who we were back then, and who we still are now. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight, here at War. I don't just talk about games, I try to remember them. And I thank you for joining me on this first video, and I'm looking to a couple more in the future, so we'll see how this does.